All right, welcome back to Finger Lakes. Today we are joined in studio here by Jim Sinacropi, who was at Nick's Chophouse over the weekend. How was it? What was your feeling on it? Nick's Chophouse out in Canandaigua?
Yeah, cool place. It's off of Main Street on Beeman Street, that little alleyway. Used to be Rio Tomatlin a while ago. I'd been to Rio Tomatlin in that location a couple times, but I have never been to Nick's. I know a couple of our co-workers here, Felicia and Sydney, have been to Nick's before and they liked it. And they've also been up top where they have the sky deck on the roof.
Yeah.
Only in the summer. Sky deck wasn't open on Saturday night when we went. We went with a group of 6, and yeah, and it's fun. I think that people who come to Finger Lakes want to see things about local restaurants. They want, if it's a place they've never been, they want to see if they should consider it. If it's a place they have been, they want to know if my opinion probably matches theirs. And so I think, food reviews or restaurant features are something that everybody really can get into,
And to that end, your review system, you have a bit of a review system developing here. Talk to us a little bit about what goes into the ratings that you give restaurants at the end of the videos that we wind up showing here on Finger Lakes today.
Yeah, and it's kind of tough to assign ratings, and I kind of almost didn't want to do it, but that's another thing I think people like, so running restaurants are difficult. It's a tough business. So last thing I would ever want to do is give a place a bad review. So you probably won't see any like really negative bad reviews, because if it's that bad, I probably won't feature it. But it's a 1 to 10 rating system. And so anything 5 or above is a place that I'd gladly go back to, is the way I'm looking at it. Because you got to leave some room at the top end. Like, I don't know if I've ever given a place a 10, and I've eaten it in fantastic, incredible restaurants, but you got to leave a little room, for that place that might be a little better. So anything, 6 and up is good, really good. And, anything 7 up is a place that I would go to, once a week if it was like in my neighborhood. So it's kind of arbitrary, but it's part of it's supposed to be fun. And like I said, last thing I would ever want to do is give a place a bad rating publicly here on fingerlakes1.com and potentially, hurt their business, because it's a really, really tough business.
All right. So we're going to take a look at that video. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little more about Jim's review. Check it out.
Saturday night, 7 p.m. reservations for a group of 6 at Nick's Chophouse on Beeman Street in Canandaigua. I've eaten here when it used to be Rio Tomatlin, but this is my first time at Nick's. They have a nice bar and booth seating in the main dining room, but we were seated in the front room, which I felt was a little heavy on the blue lighting, but still more private, and they had a steady soundtrack of blues music playing overhead. There's something for everyone on the menu, nice choices for appetizers, salads, and several entree options, especially seafood and steak, but also lamb, pork, duck, chicken, and pastas. They also had multiple preparations of potatoes as sides and a fabulous wine list and cocktail menu. This is a bruschetta, which was super heavy on the balsamic, which I like, but not everyone in our group was a fan, and the tuna tartare was fresh and delicious. I should note that our waitress Danielle and their legendary busboy Jack, seen here, were great. They were friendly, attentive, and entertaining. Here's the Caesar salad, and here's one of the biggest wedge salads I've ever seen, smothered in blue cheese, one of the best things on the menu, even though the blue lighting made the greens look a little unappetizing. Here's the seafood bisque, which was excellent. And for entrees, a tasty grilled salmon with Thai slaw and sweet Polynesian sauce. One of the specials was this order of beef tips with blue cheese and garlic smashed potatoes, and the blackened ahi tuna, which was perfectly cooked thick filet, but was paired with a super spicy wasabi sauce that kind of caught you off guard and was borderline hard to eat. The spinach that came on the side was also dry and bland and just not great. Another special, it was the quartered chicken with a savory mushroom sauce. This was excellent. Here's a look at the twice-baked potato. And here's my entree, a 14-ounce hand-rubbed ribeye, which was just fantastic and cooked at a perfect medium rare. I opted for the blue cheese and a balsamic reduction sauce on the side, and this was a really nice steak. We were disappointed that they'd run out of multiple menu options, including the cowboy cut ribeye, prime rib, and the white corn calamari. But desserts were great, coffee was robust, and look at the size of this cheesecake. Overall,
All right, Jim. That looked very, very good. Looked a little blue in there. Well, what was that rating? What was the final score on that one? 7 out of 10.
Not something that really affected the review, but it was that type of atmosphere would have been a great place to hang out and just have a few drinks. But I didn't love having dinner in that lighting because it's tough to see the food. So the lettuce looked a little off in that lighting, even though it was delicious in that wedge salad. It's one of the better wedge salads I've had. And but you can't appreciate it in that light. So, and the whole restaurant isn't like that. The front room is like that. The middle room is really well lit. There's booths, and then you have a bar room as well that has a little bit of that blue lighting, but a little less intense. But that front room was really blue.
And I'm going to ask this: when you go to a restaurant like this, sometimes portion sizes look larger than other times. This one, at least judging by the shots that you took, it looked like portion size were pretty fair.
Nobody left hungry.
Yeah.
They were big. I mentioned too in the review that, so we find out we're going there. I go online, look at the menu. I didn't eat anything all day, and I'm like, I'm going to get the cowboy cut tonight. I don't eat steak a lot, and so I was going to go big. And then I was also debating on maybe the prime rib, and then looking at the appetizers, they had a white corn calamari. I figured I'd get that. So when we got there Saturday night at 7:00, which around here that's kind of late, and it was the end of their weekend, they had run out of the cowboy cut, the prime rib, and the white corn calamari. But there was still plenty of other options. They have a huge menu, so I went with just the regular 14-ounce ribeye, and it was good enough. I would have ate the cowboy cut, which I think was 20 ounces, but I didn't need those extra 6 ounces.
So my question here is, and you just mentioned it, do you always look at the menu before you go to a place like this, or any place for that matter, or do you sometimes roll the dice and let yourself be surprised when you sit down?
It's probably 50-50. I just happen to have time. A lot of times we'll be driving there, and my wife Kathleen will pull it up on her phone, as we're driving there. But this particular time I did look at it because I kind of did want to see what the options were and kind of pre-plan what I was going to get. They have a great wine list there too, like really good. A lot of great selections by the glass, and a lot of bottles, even high-end bottles like Camus and Stag's Leap. We ended up getting a bottle somewhere in the middle. We didn't get the $150 bottle. And it was really enjoyable. And I really got to point out that one of the best things about it was the staff. Our waitress, her name was Danielle. She was funny and attentive and pleasant, and made our dinner great. And they have a busboy there named Jack. Normally you wouldn't message the busboy, but this guy was next level busboy. He was great. So shout out to Jack. It was a great time at Nick's Chophouse for sure. And all the entrees were good. The ahi tuna, as I mentioned in the review, had a wasabi sauce that was like really overpoweringly spicy. And that's what my wife got, and it was too much. So she had to separate the wasabi sauce from her tuna, which was well cooked, because it was a little too hot to eat. And so in a situation like that, the menu didn't say hot, spicy ahi tuna. It just said ahi tuna, and then in the description it mentioned wasabi sauce.
Right.
But like I said, I'm really being picky here. Nick's Chophouse was great, and a 7 out of 10 is, like I said, a place I would go back to, once a week if it was in my neighborhood.